Okay, we're going on a bike ride. For better or for worse, I've adjusted the camera 5 or 6 different times. Not really sure. I'm just gonna have to do it once. It's never gonna be perfect the first time. It's never gonna be perfect at all. But let's just do it. See what happens. Lights on. Lights on. Hopefully I got enough battery. Looking doubtful, but we'll see. Let's do it. Are we going? Yep, we're going. We're going anyway. Got $6 in my pocket. Got half a battery full of fuel. It's 100 miles to Chicago. Let's hit it. All right, let's do it. Let's get her done. Already at the top of zone 3. Slow down a little bit. Oh, yeah. Calm down a little bit. All right, let's see if we can do this. 123, 124, 126. All right, what a beautiful day. Let's go for a ride. Shall we go for speed or just comfort? I don't know. Let's go fast. .4 miles an hour, 13.3 on my watch. All right. I have no idea if the microphone's working, and if it is, how well. I don't know. Car, let's see if he sees me. Yep, he saw me. Good pace. 12.4. where it says on my speedo, and here it's still 13.6. Let's crank it up to max just to see what it does. Maximum speed on the motor. It says 21.7 on the speedometer. Let's see. I got still. Oh, I'm up to 131 heartbeat. 132. 22.1 miles an hour. 21.7. So it's pretty close. Got a truck coming up behind me. So I'm going to slow down and get to the right. Once I get around this curve, cut the motor. Oops. Hope that was not a flat tire. Just ran over something that sounded crunchy. Sounded like glass. We shall see. Got a flat tire last time I was out. Didn't go all the way flat, but it was down. It was mushy, and I put the compressor on it, and that got my pressure back up. That was Thursday. Today's Sunday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. It's been almost 3 days, and I haven't had to add air to it, so I assume that whatever it was that caused the, oops, I better gear down, because I'm going to have to come from a stop down here. I can get first gear on the motor in case I need it. I'm going to stop, check for cars both ways, a car and a bike coming that way, car coming this way, another car coming this way, and a bicyclist. Alright, let's go. That's a real biker right there. Alright, let's go 12. 12 miles an hour is our gearing. Forget what I was saying now. Oh yeah, the flat tire. So I think probably what happened was, it might have been, I didn't see any nail or anything in the tire, so it might have been another goat head. I don't know. But whatever it was, maybe the slime fixed the leak. So, however, I do have a puncture-proof tire on the front, and that's been holding. I had to add a little bit of air after a month, just because it drops a little bit anyway. But I went ahead. I ordered 3 new tires of those Schwalbe E Plus Marathon Plus puncture-proof tires, like I have on the front, because on the back, dang dude, I'm on second gear on the motor, and that guy's still running away from me up the hill. That's a real biker right there. I remember when I was young and I used to be able to ride like that. Not quite like that, but alright, I'm all over the place here. I'm talking in circles, talking in tangents. I'm just gonna be quiet for a little bit and just enjoy the ride. to go full speed here just to get out of this area. And again, left. Gearing down. And going left. I don't see the avocado lady out here. That's a bummer. I was hoping to get some avocados from her. And just to say hi to her again. She's a really sweet lady. Very nice lady. She makes her money selling fruit. Oh, maybe she is here. Yep, I think she's here. There she is. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yay.
Hola.
Hello, how are you?
Good, you?
How much for the bag of avocados?
$5.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Oh, Bubba. All right. All right. There we go. Good to go. All right. Let's see how far we can go on this battery and see if we can get back home again without getting stuck somewhere. All right. Oh, we're already down to 2 bars on the battery. This might, oh, back up to 3. I think we can do it. Let's have to see. One top gear, one away from top gear. So I'm not going to push the motor. Heart rate still up in the 134. I'm up in the zone 4 orange, bottom of the orange zone. So that's actually more than I want to do. So see if we can get back down into the green zone for the rest of the ride. I'm not really out here to gain any cardio or anything. Just want to loosen up the muscles in the legs, loosen up that hip that gets a little tight. Kind of get things a little more fluid, working a little smoother in this old body, this old gray bearded body. Now this is the Renegade. I used to film a TV show with Lorenzo Lamas called Renegade, and that was one of the places where they would stop in. They would film from here. Several places around here in town. Feed store over there in Lakeside. And it was kind of fun watching the show just for that, if nothing else. Get to see some of the local spots. Still in zone 4 at the bottom, so I don't know. Gone 2.5 miles, and I think it's about 8 to 9 miles round trip. So got probably 2 more miles out before we start heading back. Forgot to check my tire, see if it's going down. If it goes flat while I'm all the way out here, I might have to call my neighbor and ask for a ride back home. We'll see. See how that goes. Don't want to have to do that, but boy, it's sure nice to know that you got good friends and neighbors that'll come and get you if you need it. It looks like I'm going to be hanging out in zone, oh, there it goes, zone 3. Just dropped in. So it's going to say I got a pretty good workout today, although I think most of it's just trying to keep my breath while I'm talking so much. I'm not really exerting. My legs aren't really feeling it at all. Still feeling a little bit crampy from Thursday's ride. The bottom of my feet feel a little bit crampy and fatigued. A lot of that has to do with probably not wearing the correct kind of shoes for riding. Just wearing Crocs, which, you know, is what it is. There's a guy out picking up sticks on the Sabbath. Something like that. Okay, so I got 3 battery bars, so it's showing half a tank of fuel on the battery. So starting to hit an incline now. It's going to work a little harder. And I'm at 135, 134, 133, 134. That pickup that just passed us, I could smell their cigarette. Isn't that weird? It smells like I'm standing right next to somebody that's smoking. I don't know if it's my senses are getting more sensitive or if it's just being out here in the open air and on a bicycle, just kind of going slow and just taking everything in. But I notice a lot more now. Notice the wildlife, notice all the birds. I noticed that bus right there has a bike rack on the front. Yeah, that's pretty interesting now that I think about it. Might not need to call a friend if checking my tire here. Might not need to call somebody if I get a flat. I'll just hop on the bus. Nice bike. Wow, that was a beautiful bike. This is the old Blossom Flynn Station. Oh, chainsaw. It's a redneck Sunday in Lakeside. You don't get no better than that. Got your backhoe out and your chainsaw, got your shirt off and you're trimming logs. That's beautiful. I think I can see it. Let's see how this camera thing works on the Chesty. The one I tried Thursday, I actually had this same phone camera that I'm using now. I had it mounted on this thing on the handlebars, and I had it in vertical position instead of horizontal like now on this chest strap that I'm using. And the chest strap will also mount a GoPro, so we'll see how that goes. I got 2 GoPros on order from eBay. I found them for sale, a GoPro 3 and a GoPro 3 Plus, both silver. Not exactly sure. Ooh, I'm a 139, 140. Ooh, I definitely want to stay out of the red zone. Don't want to go back in the red zone again. So just want to keep it nice and comfortable. I'm gonna have to make a left turn up here. So depending on the traffic, I may be able to just do it. Don't want to start too early because the car might come up from behind as well as there is right now. So I'm going to drop down. I'm going to drop down to the lower gear. Just kind of hang out here for a second. See what's going on. Here comes the car. Now he's done. I think we're pretty clear. I'm gonna actually come to a complete stop before I make this turn, just to be extra safe. Nobody coming from the left. Last one on the right. Let's go. And we're through. Here comes a car, but we're good. We're good. And I got 3 full bars on the battery still. This is where I had the scariest when I first started riding, and I was completely out of shape. Now I'm just mostly out of shape. But when I first started, and I just couldn't really ride anything without the battery. I got to this point right here. I got to almost this point, and it got down to 1 bar on the battery. And that's when I started to panic. I was like, oh, and I turned off the battery, and I turned off the headlight, even that little LED light. I'm like, no, drain, I need it for that last little hill at home. And I did that little bit right there that we just did in the last 2 minutes. I did that all under my own power. And my heart rate got way up into the red zone. And I was sweating. But from here, I'm coasting now. So this is nothing. And that's what I did before. I just coasted all the way down. And then it was pretty much flat all the way back. But I didn't have my blinking strobe light on the back. So I noticed that the cars were coming real close to me on my left before. It's like they didn't see me until like the last moment. Even though I was wearing a high visibility shirt, I didn't have that blinking strobe light. That seems to really make a difference. And now, of course, I've got the blinking red light on the back of my helmet, and I've got that really strong blinking 300 candle power LED bright white light on the front of my helmet that you saw at the beginning of the ride in the reflection in the window. And that, not being a hard mount on the bike, being on my head, on my top of my helmet. Here comes a car on the left. That seems to make a big difference, having, must be a little leaking going on. That makes a big difference having it on your person, a light that's just moving with like a person with a person's body. Seems to be a lot more visible. I was reading something that said that, you know, our human eyes are designed, and our brains are designed to pick up that type of motion and to be a lot more receptive to seeing that and reactive to that than to maybe just a light that's like on a stop sign that's just kind of blinking, you know, a light on the side of the road or something like that. So, okay, we're getting to another spot here where we've got to cross traffic. Looks pretty clear both ways. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. There's nothing. This is a nice T intersection, so it's super easy. So I got this far before without even really having to exert after that first time where I almost lost my battery. Tire looks good. I got that little portable compressor, which is just so nice. Thursday, when my pressure got down to like 20 pounds and it was real saggy, I just pulled over there in front of the Greek chicken restaurant on the curb, popped out the little portable air compressor, hooked it up, and just hit the button and watched it charge right up. Got up to about 50 pounds and decided that was enough. And I haven't touched it since then, so 3 days, and it feels like it's still right there at 50 pounds. I don't know, I haven't checked it, but I've got the compressor if I need a little boost. So anything other than a full blowout or a really big puncture that the slime's not going to either seal or slow down, it should be fine. I've noticed now, after I think I've been riding for 6 months now, I've noticed I'm getting a little bit more confidence each time. Sometimes I get a little overconfident, and almost took a spill a couple weeks ago. I was thinking about Hugh and his crash. Pray for him that he continues to heal. He's got to be in his late 60s now, maybe 70. I think he's probably 10 or 12 years older than me. And he was out doing a 10-mile bike ride. He's a preacher, and I think he's in Arizona. And he took a spill. I don't know the details, but he went down on his bike. Initially, from the injuries he was telling me about, I thought maybe he got hit by a car, because it was pretty extensive injuries. But I guess he just went down. But it broke his hip in 3 places, I think he said. Broke a rib. I don't know, the whole thing about the broken hip. I guess it's actually not your hip. They call it a broken hip, but I think it's your femur, like at the top. I don't know. Not really sure. But I know they had to airlift him out to the hospital. He did the surgery, and he was having a pretty big program to try to get back. I guess they were saying he's going to have to learn how to walk again, but apparently he's still not allowed to put any weight on it. But he uses the walker, and it's been really encouraging reading his posts every day or so on Facebook. He's dealing with cramping, which is tough, of course. Yeah, especially with that kind of injury, it's got to make it, a whole bunch worse, having to deal with the cramping. You can't just deal with it like you normally would. But he said he woke up like in the middle of the night, took some meds, muscle relaxer, pain medicine, that kind of thing. Went back to bed, and we're down in the low 120s now. Or 120, mid 120s. And we've got 5.25 miles. So we got about 2.5 miles left, I think, heading back home. So anyway, back to the story. He got up at like 4:30 in the morning. And he got his walker, and he went out to his car. And he got in the car with the walker. I don't know how he did it. And he drove to Starbucks. Isn't that awesome? He drove to Starbucks at like 4:30 in the morning to get a coffee. And I guess he had a Bible study there. I guess he's been doing that for a few days now. It's like his regular routine now, which is amazing, I keep praying for that brother, that he doesn't have any pain, cramping, and all that stuff. And that he heals, that he will heal completely, and he'll be pain-free. Very encouraging brother. I love catching his, he used to do Bible classes a lot on Facebook during COVID. And he still posts every once in a while a sermon or something, which is pretty nice to watch. Kay shares them a lot too. She watches a lot of those things, and she picks some good ones and shares them on Facebook. So there's never any lack of Christian learning, fellowship type of content on Facebook. Where's this guy's ladder? Yeah, I think we got a flat. Goat head. A lot of goat heads out here this year. Man, the goat heads are really prominent. They're all over at the end of my street, all over the side of the road, down by the school. When I rode out to Lake Jennings a week or so ago, they're coming up out of the cracks in the sidewalk, at the corner, at the crosswalks. I mean, they're just everywhere. And those things on a regular tire, on the tires and the thin tubes that came with this bike and with my other mountain bike, and of course the road bike, I don't even think I could get past the end of the road on my road bike anymore with all these goat heads. These stickers, these thorns, they're brutal. I mean, they take down Goliath. Steps on one of those, you know. But they're everywhere. And then, of course, there's tons of glass, nails, little screws, pieces of metal, just a lot of broken glass, a lot of stuff on the road, a lot of stuff that makes it tough for bikers. This bike trail is like a glass trail. It's got so many possible flat tires. Right now I'm running, I guess yeah, I'm running that tear down here. Take off and stop. Oh, there we go. It's green. I think I'm just going to go relaxing on the rest of the way home. Just enjoy the ride. Got 6 miles in. We're right at a half an hour. Heart rate is down to 120. That's perfect. Just nice and easy. Smelled another smoker just drove by. Isn't that weird? I don't think anybody that's driving their car realizes that like people can smell. Like, you know, oh yeah, that's a menthol. Oh yeah, that's somebody smoking weed. You know, you can tell. It's this one house down at the end of my street. I can every time I drive by, it smells like a bong. It smells like you just took a bong hit. It smells like Willie Nelson's tour bus. Okay, so now we're cruising. It's gravity for a long way. I'm going to do something really stupid here. I'm going to take both hands off. Something I learned to do again since I used to do it when I was a kid, but to be able to steer with just your balance. It's not something I like to do a lot, but it's a good skill to be able to have. You know, especially if you're riding and you need to take your hand off for something, and you take your hand off, if you get a bug in your eye or sand or something, it's just nice to know that you can have the confidence to do it. You don't really want to do it, just to be showing off or anything like that. A couple months ago, I was right here on this road, and a kid on an electric motorcycle. I think they'll do like 70 miles an hour. He was coming towards me on this side of the road here in the bike lane, so I kind of pulled over like I am now. And this kid, he's got a full face helmet on, you know, dirt bike helmet, knobby tires, and he's cruising at about 25, 30 miles an hour towards me, and all of a sudden he hops up off the pedals and standing on his seat, and he guns it, and he goes into a full wheelie. So he's riding a wheelie towards me, showing off, you know, just a kid. And he's doing a wheelie while he's standing on the seat. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, look, I can take one hand off. That was before I could even do two. Oh man. And I was just like, man. Just trying to remember what it was like to be young so long ago and to have that kind of mindset where you would just do stuff like that. I mean, I never did anything that talented, but my goodness, you know, you're just the same mindset though, you know. You just do stuff like that. And then a couple weeks ago I saw, I don't know if it was the same kid or not, but a similar bike, and there was a girl walking across the street. She was walking towards me on the other side of the street, and this guy comes around the corner, this kid on this bike, and he sees her, and he starts doing a wheelie. He goes all the way back. He's tipped his front and rear tires are completely vertical. So he's using the throttle and the back brake at the same time to keep, he's using the throttle more than it needs to. If he wasn't using the brake, he would completely tip. And he was just doing that. And he was just, showing off, of course. That's what guys do, right? We just try to show off for the girls. And after he went by, she kept walking, and I caught her eye, and I smiled, and she smiled, and I was just like, oh, it's so funny. Reminds me, that story now, it reminds me of back in high school when I had my little Honda 125, and I was only 15 years old, didn't have my license or anything. And me and my buddy Edmundo, he had a bike. He had a 350. He had a beefy bike. He had a 350 Honda. And our friend Brett had he bought himself a brand new, or his parents bought it for him. I think it was a Yamaha 250 Excite bike. I think it was called. It was like a street bike, like a cruiser. It was pretty cool looking. But we were the three amigos, riding our motorcycles. And I would we would go up to the high school yard, to the dirt field in the back. Let's go riding around there until one of the after school PE teachers would chase us off. This is not a motorcycle rink. And speaking of kids and our mindsets and how silly we are and how our brains work, my idea was, if I'm taking this street bike out, it's street legal, but we would only use it on the weekends. My parents would let me use it on the weekends when we would go out we would go out camping out in Boulevard every weekend. And so we're out there and had all kinds of trails on private property we could ride on. Well, it was a street legal bike, but they kept the tags current, but they didn't put the sticker on because there was no need to. So I didn't have a sticker. My sticker was expired for the year on the license plate. So my idea was, I don't want to get pulled over by a cop. So here's my idea. My big brain idea was, I'll take a piece of electrical tape and I'll put it over the year on the on the license plate, so a cop won't see that it's expired. And that was my logic. Never got pulled over, but man, did a lot of stupid stuff on the bikes. So I don't know. I think I started a story about Brett doing his wheelie. I never got there, but I used to ride that 125 in the backyard, do figure eights in the backyard across the patio and down at the end of the yard, turn the fence, kind of do a power slide, and then I'd hit the patio and put my feet on the back pegs and gun it, and I would ride a wheelie across the patio and then hit the dirt grass patch at the other end of the yard and then do a U-turn by the shed and then come back. And I was showing Edmundo, my friend, that, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you're really good." And it's like, well, that's all I could do because I just loved riding the motorcycle, but I didn't really have any opportunities to do that except for when we would go camping. So, every day after school, I would just go back to the backyard for a couple hours and just ride this bike. I got really used to it. And so he thought I was a better rider than I was. I was just good at that one little track. And so when Brett saw that I could do a wheelie, I showed him how. I said, you just gun it while you stand still, and you lean forward, and you just gun it, and then you let the clutch out enough to start moving a little bit, because you don't want to stall it, you don't want to pop it. But just as it starts moving, you get a feel for it when you can pop that clutch, and it'll bring the front end up. And so I taught him how to wheelie. And so the first thing he did, he was working at one of the donut shops. I think he was working at Heavenly Donuts. He was a high school, 15-year-old kid, get a work permit. And so he got himself a brand new helmet, and he had this brand new bike. And then the next day, he was showing me and Mundo. He's like, he had a big scratch on his helmet, and then he had a big scratch on his gas tank. He was like, yeah, there was these 3 girls down the street from my house. They were sitting there on the curb, and they were watching me. So I decided to pull out that wheelie trick that you showed me. And he just lost it. He just, too much power. Just got away from him, and he just crashed. Oh man. And then Edmundo had his friend Mark Ritz. Oh man, that guy was a motorcycle rider. Whew. I don't know if he ever became professional or what, but he was riding competition, dirt bike, riding tracks, riding races, dirt bike races, closed track, I think up at Carlsbad. And he got himself a new 250 Enduro. It was like an XR, I think, or whatever. And Edmundo, having seen me with my 125 in the backyard, oh, it was a nice dirt bike. He thought I was a better rider than I was, and he told Mark, he says, oh yeah, let him ride it. He's really good. So he let me ride it, and he was, he really didn't want to, but Edmundo talked him into it. And left turn here, we're home. And so I hopped on the bike, and that was, at the time, that was the biggest bike I'd ever ridden, was my 125. And of course, this XR was a 250. And so I went first gear and just kind of gave it some throttle and clicked into second gear, and wasn't trying to wheelie or anything. I just put it in second gear and just rolled the throttle back, and that front end came up. And I rode a wheelie for about a half a block, just because I didn't want to back off the throttle and look like I scared myself or anything. So I just kept on the throttle and just leaned forward and just rode this wheelie. It wasn't maybe got a foot or two off the ground was all. It didn't, nothing crazy, nothing like that kid on the electric bike. But I got back, did a U-turn at the end of the block, and came back, and you could see Mark was just biting his fingernails. He was like, I really don't want you riding my brand new bike. And so I was like, yeah, that's pretty nice. I was playing cool, but I was kind of scared. I was like, oh man, what if I would have did like Brett, and like totally dumped this brand new bike? This guy that I don't even, it's like I wasn't friends with him. I didn't even really know him. I just knew Mundo, and he was his friend of Edmundo. Hey, we're back home. Look at that. 125, 40 minutes, 7.85 miles. Oh, and we're home. Oh, watch out for the basket. Oh, okay. And there we go. Oh, that was nice. Thanks for coming along. Turn off our blinker. And we still got 3 bars. I didn't use the battery hardly at all. 46.5, 46.3 volts. Went, how long did we go? Can't see. It's 42 minutes. This says an hour. Oh, that's right, because I did so many trial runs with the camera. See my light blinking? Probably due for a recharge now. So that's an hour and 2 this has been on. 630 miles total on the odometer. That's pretty amazing. 630 miles in 6 months. All right, let's crank this baby off. Let's go inside and have a beverage.